how this is going. I mean, is she into me? Is she not? But there are nuances that we should kind of have our minds wrapped around a little bit. So let's talk about that right now. Imagine you're out on dates with these beautiful girls and you want to know, how do I know whether or not this girl is into me or not into me? And if she's not into me, how do I know that for sure and what do I do about it? So let's talk about some of that. Some of this is incredibly obvious, some of it not so much, but here we go. This is a romantic smile. You know, there's a difference between a polite smile and a romantic smile. I guarantee you guys have been on dates where a girl was smiling politely. She was being friendly. She might even really like you socially and she thinks you're funny. So she's smiling at you politely, or she's smiling at you socially, but she's not smiling at you romantically. A romantic smile is a very different smile. You've experienced a romantic smile before. You've been on the receiving end of that. I bet when I say those two words together, romantic smile, an image comes to mind of a girl you once knew, once dated, or partnered with, and she had that smile. Watch how the women are reacting to the men, and watch how they smile. It's not a polite, courteous smile. It's a long smile. She's looking you up and down as she's smiling at you. She's not just giving you that polite, brief smile and then looking away. She's looking at you. She's leaning in. She's smiling. She's making eye contact. The eye contact lingers. It's not breaking away. She's holding that smile for you, and you can tell it's that subtle, or maybe not so subtle, romantic invitation, that kind of smile. On a date, even a first date, a second date, you definitely should be getting that romantic, playful smile. If you compliment her without being completely crazy, but if you compliment her a few times and clearly send her the signal that you're attracted to her and you like her, she should smile back romantically, because that's good news to her. She wants you to feel that way, and she's going to invite more of that behavior from you. If there's a wall, if she's resisting, if she's not responding, right? She's not smiling romantically. Think about it. Now, sometimes we have to be careful not to close proximity too quickly. And there are ways to close proximity that are appropriate in some cultures and maybe not appropriate in other cultures. But she won't close the space in between. There's a table in between you and you're not holding hands across the table. There's an interpreter in between you and she won't stand next to you. She wants somebody in between you. Are you experiencing those kinds of behaviors where she seems to be going a little bit out of her way to not close proximity to you, to not be close to you, to not allow the possibility for the two of you to touch each other? If you touch a woman on a date, and I'm not talking inappropriately at all, guys. I'm just talking a subtle caress, which should definitely be the part of every date, including a first date. Shucks, you should definitely initiate some little kind of caress or contact and watch her reaction. And the reaction should be one of welcome, one of acceptance, not one of resistance. It may not mean that, if you reach out to touch her hand or you reach out to just caress her arm for a moment, that she's going to wrap her arms around you. I'm not necessarily suggesting that, but you'll know what I'm talking about. You reach out, you caress, you touch, and she draws you in. She's okay with that. She shows you signs of acceptance and interest. You have to definitely test that proximity. You have to reach out very subtly and very carefully at first and just initiate a little bit of touch. Now think about this. You're standing with somebody and you reach over and you just caress her arm for a moment. That's just a little bit of touch. It lasts 2 or 3 seconds, right? Just, hey, you're very beautiful. Well, our taxi's here. Whatever. You're at dinner and her hand is on the table and you just reach over and grab her little finger between your 2 fingers and just caress her little finger for a moment. How are you? How do you feel? Are you okay? Just initiating the slightest subtle touch, but it's touch and it's direct. And she's not pulling her hand away and she's smiling that flirtatious romantic smile. You want that kind of dynamic and you want that chemistry and that dynamic to build over the course of the date. The two of you are there, you found each other. There's great magic in that. You came halfway around the world to find this girl. Her life, busy, hardworking, not a lot of fun, not a lot of dates, not a lot of romance. And in the case of many, many women in a lot of places, no romance in recent memory at all. And suddenly you show up, this foreign guy who looks good, you sound kind of interesting, and you've got a great attitude and you're well balanced emotionally and you look pretty dang fly. You look masculine, you're interesting, and now you're out on a date and you're in an environment that's fun and she's relaxed. She's on a date and it's romantic. She should be focused on you, smiling, listening to your answers, clarifying where there's any misunderstanding of your answer, complimenting your ideas. I notice that women on dates, guys will tell me all the time that they like the way that women on dates respond to them. You know, I will say something and she'll say, wow, that's interesting. Wow, that's a great perspective. It's positive feedback that men get on dates. Yeah, and women need that as well. So she's not just looking at her interpreter a lot, you know, please, you say something because I'm tired of talking to this guy. She's talking to you, she's looking at you, and the interpreter has to stop her sometimes in order to translate because she's so eager to talk to you. Well, hold on, let me translate that, hold on. And the interpreter has to do that sometimes because she's so eager to talk to you, right? She's not on her cell phone, or she's on her cell phone minimally, right? She's not darting around the room. Her eyes aren't all over the place. Her eyes are on you, not over your shoulder, not across the room at another table. She's looking at you. She's focused on you. She's listening to what you're saying. She's giving you good feedback. She's got great eye contact, right? If she's quiet and she's not involved in the conversation and the translator is really pulling teeth to get her to talk, then you just know clearly that she's not into it, right? And again, if she does not initiate touch, this is part of that closing the proximity. I find that if a woman and a man, I mean, the women and the men who date in this environment, they're attracted to each other, they're interested in each other, I find that women will initiate some kind of touch. And if you initiate some kind of touch, they will typically initiate some kind of touch back. Why? Because they're trying to pull you in. They're trying to claim you. I've heard this many, many times from men who go to the Philippines, who go to Thailand. I've seen it many, many times for the men going to Latin America and to the Ukraine, to Russia, to places like that. Women, if you initiate a little bit of touch and you are clearly signaling, I really like you, I'd really like you to like me, I really want us to like each other enough to be exclusive to each other, I don't want to meet other women, if you like me as much as I like you, you are clearly the girl I came to meet. How do you feel about me? And as a gentleman, as somebody who really likes this girl, or someone who just showed up in her life that she's not seen before, something entirely unique, she's not going to miss that opportunity to try and draw you in, to try and claim you. So she's going to initiate a little bit of touch as well. The most common way that I find in Ukraine, for example, for women to do that, it's a bit old-fashioned, but it's very, very cute. Women will take your arm when you walk down the street. And a great way to test that proximity is you just hold your arm out, like they did in the 1950s, for crying out loud. You hold your arm out and she'll take her hands and put them on your arm and on your biceps, literally, as you're walking down the street, she's holding on to your arm. And of course, you extend your arm is out. And then she takes your arm, and she's probably, you know, almost a foot away from you. And then you bring your arm in and you draw her into you, right? And now her hands are touching your body and your arms are touching her forearms, and you're tightly, almost cuddled up as you're walking down that street. And it's a very romantic gesture. And it's very rare that a woman will hold a man's arm and stand that tightly with him. She's not interested and not attracted to him. If she's willing to hold your arm and walk down the street, she is definitely following your lead in closing that proximity and establishing some kind of touch and acceptance. So again, if she never initiates any kind of touch at all, that's probably a sign that she's not attracted to you and just not feeling it, right? So again, she's not responding to your likes and your dislikes. She's not saying anything, you know, she's not expressing, I like this, I like that, you like that, we like that, how interesting, we like the same things. She doesn't ask very many questions. You're finding very little common ground, and she seems focused on that one date, meaning she's not talking about, you know, you like Ukrainian food, why don't we go to a Ukrainian restaurant on the next date? You like art museums? There's a great art museum in this city, why don't we go to the art museum? She's not suggesting anything happening after this one date. She sounds like she's just trying to get through that one date. The guys make mistakes sometimes when we date internationally. It's not our fault, there's a lot to learn. That's why we do these webcasts. But some of the mistakes that guys make are not asking open-ended questions. I know, for example, I'm sorry to say it, but a lot of guys, man, I just did a tour with 60 guys, 55 of whom were absolutely glorious. There were a few guys on the tour that needed a little bit of coaching because they wouldn't shut up about themselves. I mean, I'm the smartest guy in the room. Just trust me. Ask me, you know, whatever you want. I've got a perfect answer for it. Whatever you think doesn't particularly matter. I don't really need to know much about you because I know you're just going to be excited about how much I know about everything. I mean, there literally are a few men. One particular gentleman that comes to mind, I remember I could see him just holding this girl's hand and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, and she was just nodding her head. I could tell she didn't understand most of what he was saying. He was talking too fast. Every now and then, because we're nervous we turn that nervousness into self-absorption, and that's a dangerous date killer, guys. It really is. Women want to talk about themselves because women don't get to talk about themselves. They want to know about you, but they want somebody to be interested in them. It's very important that you ask open-ended questions, wait for the answer. So tell me about your family. What do you like about your job? So tell me about your city. What are your favorite places in the city? What do you do in your spare time? Tell me some of those things. In other words, questions that beg something other than a yes or no answer are very important on a date, right? Be touchable. You know, yourself, smile. It amazes me how many guys go on a tour and they act like I'm really, really depressed Eeyore. You know, oh my God, so many women. Don't know. Just don't be that guy. That was a bad Eeyore impersonation, I'm sorry, but don't be that guy. Smile, be friendly, be approachable, and be touchable. Be kind, be gentle with your eyes, with your expressions. You know, so many guys show up on dates in Ukraine, and it's just clear that they want to talk about themselves more than they want to talk about the girl on the date. What a colossal mistake. What a killer mistake, right? Touch carefully, but do touch. But be appropriate when you touch. Guys sometimes will make a mistake of pushing it a little too far and getting a little too, maybe after an alcohol, drink or two, something like that, a little alcohol. Just be careful about that. Don't cross too many barriers too soon, but definitely initiate that friendly, warm, welcoming, inviting touch. Offer your arm. It's the best thing you can do when you're out on a date. Many women are surprised by that. It's a very old-fashioned thing. You know, guys, sometimes in another culture, something casual like holding hands is a very intimate act. This is definitely true in Ukraine. It's interesting, isn't it? Because in America, holding hands is a very kind of introductory way for people to touch each other. I mean, you're holding hands and no other body parts are touching. You're just kind of holding hands, right? It's a very common thing for American couples to do in their first dating. And yet, in some cultures, it's a little bit more intimate. We don't hold hands until we're kissing each other, and I mean, because it's that intimate for some cultures, for some couples. So again, just hold that arm out. If you sense that she's not comfortable, keep it out for a little bit. Let her kind of hang out there a few inches away from you. And if it's getting cuddly and warm and friendly, then just draw her in. Lead her right in, tight to your body with your arm. What an inviting, wonderful, gentlemanly way to establish that wonderful, intimate connection together, right? Yeah. So smile romantically. You want to see that from her. You want to be smiling romantically at her. You want to close that proximity together. It's very important. Find ways to do that. Offer your arm. Be focused on her. If you want her to be focused on you, you definitely want her to be focused on you. You want to be focused on her. You can't be, your eyes darting around the room, looking at other women walking by. Make her feel like the spotlight is definitely on her when you're getting to know her. And it's okay to initiate touch, but do it very respectfully and appropriately. And again, just be warm and inviting and friendly and positive, and you'll definitely know if she's into you. And I got good news for you guys. The truth is, the vast majority of time when you're out on dates with women from another country, as long as you're being realistic, as long as you're meeting women who are appropriate for you, women who are age appropriate, she's going to respond in kind to all of your interests. The only time guys get in trouble is when they reach a little bit too far, particularly in the age difference category, where the women might find it interesting. If I've been studying English, I'm a young girl just out of college, it might be interesting to talk to a native English speaker. You have women in China, women in Ukraine, women in Thailand, women all over the world who study English but never speak to a native English speaker. So suddenly it's interesting when you show up and you want to buy them a sushi dinner and speak English, and the young girls will go, sure, why not? What can it hurt? But they're not really thinking romantically because the age gap is too broad. So again, be realistic, and you'll draw women into you who are definitely interested in you, and you'll get all the signs that she's definitely into you more often than not, my friends.